Welcome back to the Exempt List, or welcome to the first iteration of this Exempt List on Yahoo Sports. I'm your host, Charles McDonald, and today we are talking about a small little game that happened last night on Monday Night Football between the Jets and the Bills. You might have heard what happened. Aaron Rodgers out for the season. I got my buddy Justis Mosqueda from SB Nation in to talk all things Aaron Rodgers, Jets, and just general tomfoolery with me. So we're going to get right into it, and welcome back to the Exempt List on Yahoo Sports. Justis, we're back. Dude, we're back, like for real this time.
We did it.
I feel like every time I start or end a podcast, I got to have you on because last time when I was doing this at my previous job, I think episode 19 was the final episode of the previous iteration, which started in April. So didn't even get to like a single regular season football game before it had to shut down. But we have regular season action to talk about today. This show is going to be on every Tuesday on the Zero Blitz podcast feed. It's kind of like, you know, if you're someone who loves football but don't really like football culture all the time, or just think in general the way that we talk about this game and interact with this game is a little bit too serious sometimes, then this podcast is for you. Justis, how are you doing today, just in general, after what we witnessed last night?
Oh, I was gonna say want to know, but now that seems disrespectful.
Want to know?
I'm want to know. We beat the Bears. The Packers beat
Yeah.
the Bears. I don't know how to feel about the Rodgers thing. I mean, it seems pretty sad, but it's more like what's gonna happen next. Seems more of like the question that's hanging over than really any of the emotions, at least for Packers fans, right? Because you know you have the emotional investment of the conditions of the 2024 draft pick or whatever, but like that goes away pretty quickly once you see that it's an Achilles injury and you know Rodgers is turning 40 years old and you're like, is that the last, was that his last play? Right? Like those questions are kind of looming now.
I mean, it shifted the landscape of the NFL season. And we'll get to that.
You think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just a little bit.
five more primetime
Just a
games
little
with
bit.
Zach Wilson.
Oh my God, is that true? 5 more primetime games?
Yes.
Oh man, 4 plays. More primetime games than plays played for the Jets this year for Aaron Rodgers. We'll get to a little deeper dive of what's going on with the Jets and the Packers and the Bills in a few minutes. But first, we got to talk about some stupid stuff like we always do. Did you see the Jerry Jones AI thing?
I didn't turn the sound on, but I saw the video. Looks creepy. Yeah, it's like you can ask it questions.
Yeah, you can ask
What
it
the hell
questions,
are we
and
doing?
I don't know, but I guess Jerry will walk you through part of the history of the Cowboys, and he
Who
has some
asked for
nice words.
this?
I don't know. Well, Jerry did.
Yeah, I guess
What do you
that's
mean who
true.
asked for
Yeah, I
this?
mean,
The guy who named the stadium after himself, Jerry. I thought it was just weird. Like, why is Jerry Jones doing this? Well, because he's Jerry. But secondly, like, there's a part in the video where they have the crowd asking the Jerry Jones AI questions about their sponsorships with other companies. And I'm like, dude, this is what the future is going to be. I'm going to go to cover some Cowboys game in the future, and I'm going to see Jerry Jones with an AI talk about why Coca-Cola is like the best Coke that you can drink, or just something dumb like that. I think we really need to stop this AI stuff. You know, the Chat GPT stuff was okay until it started, you know, taking people's jobs and putting together high school news, like putting together news stories in the high school football games that
here's the problem with the
don't
AI though.
include
With
any
the Chat
players.
GPT, is like, is it any good? I don't think
No.
so. You can't use it for anything. It's use
Yeah,
Google. Like Google's more powerful than this stuff is right now.
you still have to edit it yourself. Like when the newspapers got kind of exposed for publishing those stories about high school football games that didn't include any quotes, any players, barely any scores. Sometimes there were 2 leads to start things off. I think we just need to stop what we're doing, think, but instead we're hitting the accelerator, and now I can watch a hologram of Jerry Jones tell me about how great the Cowboys are and everything that he did to acquire the team and develop into a multi-billion-dollar corporation. This is, to me, is one of those points where you see, like, you think about how rich people are disconnected. The ultra wealthy people are disconnected with everyone else, and this is like top level example. I just don't understand why Jerry Jones thinks we need this forever. Maybe he just assumes this is his way. He's never gonna die, but I'm not a fan. Also, wasn't a fan of the Chargers allowing AI robots to walk around their stadium prior to their game, or no, not even prior to the game. During the game against the Dolphins on Sunday, there were a lot of quality jokes about how there was more AI in the crowd than Chargers fans because the Chargers historically have had pretty low turnout. But I'm just kind of surprised that no one smashed one.
People got to fight back against these robots, dude. If it's aliens or robots, I'm team aliens. I side with
Oh,
the
I know.
aliens.
I know you're Team Aliens. I know you are Team Aliens. Yeah, Justice watched the UFO documentary on Netflix, and it kind of turned into
What
a
are you
thing for a
talking
little
about,
bit.
dude? I watched the UFO hearing that they had.
I was trying to spare you, dude.
Oh no, we'll
Okay.
find the truth soon.
What did they say when they found the parts from the what they claimed to be like non-human biological matter or something like that?
Yeah.
Which could be anything, a
Well,
chicken, a dog, a cat.
look,
I don't know.
Charles, they want to let you know that maybe these aren't from space, maybe these are from another dimension. They don't want to rule it out. They're just following the science, dude. Come on.
Yeah, the science, the science. My science says we need to just shut all this down, focus on our own problems. And whatever movie this is, the creator, there's got to be a better way than to have random AI robot people walking around the stadium. I think it's interesting that they tried that in a stadium where, the fans are kind of known for not being very passionate about the team. I would love to see that happen in Philly. Go drop
That
that
was the
off at an
first one that
Eagles
came to
game.
mind. It was Philly. It was like we threw snowballs at Santa. Like, yeah. See what they do to a robot.
Dude, even last night at the game, at the Jets Bills game, I saw a report that someone had thrown a water bottle at Zach Wilson going into halftime as he's walking into the stadium, or he's walking to the stadium at halftime. So there's heart out there. Like there's people who are still invigorated about our stupid
We
little
can still
sports
fight.
teams.
We can still
we can
fight
still
back.
fight, right? We can still fight back because we people wouldn't throw snowballs at Santa and throw water bottles at Zach Wilson, who I'm sure was like the Mr. Krabs meme where he's all shook up and he's looking kind of lost in space. I'm sure that's how he was when Aaron got hurt and had to come out of the game after 4 plays. So let's talk about the game just in general last night. I've never experienced an emotion shift like that. When I got to the game, man, the way that they were presenting this first Aaron Rodgers start, you would have thought they won the damn Super Bowl last year. Like there's pyrotechnics, there's fireworks, they have lights all around the stadium flashing. The pyrotechnics show was so crazy. They had a warning on the jumbo screen for people to like look away if it's going to be something that kind of messes with your brain a little bit, and it lasted 4 plays. And when he comes out onto the field, there was a standing ovation so loud you could literally feel the press box starting to shake. They were ready to explode. If he completed one pass, he would have been a hero forever in that city. And it lasted 4 plays. I still can't get over how quickly it went from this is going to be the greatest party MetLife Stadium has ever seen to about 10 minutes later, dead silence. Like, you could hear a pin drop. And it just sucked all the life out of that. Man, according to the report, more tickets were distributed for this game than when the Super Bowl was at MetLife between the Seahawks and the Broncos way back in the day. In a way, like I know we've laughed a lot at Aaron Rodgers this year. We poked fun at some of the things that he said, but it still was deflating to see that happen that quickly, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just insane. This has never happened before in the NFL. Like, just like instant vaporization. No, that doesn't happen in this league. So I was on a podcast, so I was catching up to it late. My phone is red hot once I get off, and it's like Rodgers hurt, Rodgers hurt, Rodgers hurt. Like this has to be a joke, right? Like someone's pulling a prank. I end up calling Chuck. Chuck is like, please,
I'm at
I'm
the
in the
game.
stadium. I'm in the stadium. Text me. I was like, okay. I watched the game. Obviously, he went down. Then you start seeing how serious it is. We get the Twitter doctor. Shout out to the Twitter doctor's real MVP moment, talking about the reverberation in the calf and how it's supposed to be an Achilles injury because of that. And then I start catching up to like what the intro looked like. I didn't realize he's coming out there with like the flag and they're blaring ACDC and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God. Like I cannot imagine the whiplash that Jets fans are dealing with today.
When he ran out with the flag to the 50-yard line, I thought he was about to throw it in the ground like the Seminole guy right before, like it was a zoo, and then it all stopped, and the funny thing is, after the game, I think our pal Jory Epstein, she did a good job kind of capturing the emotion after the game. But I would say, and also based like from players I talked to last night, the mood shift, it's really age correlated and how many years you've played in the NFL. The younger guys, they were still hyped because they got a walk-off punt return from one of their undrafted fellow rookies. Um, I understand being excited. It kind of reinvigorated the whole crowd, turned it back into a zoo. But the older guys are like, that ain't my first NFL game. We got
Yeah.
16 more of these things to go. And I think it's good to live in the moment, but also be realistic that your Super Bowl chances just took a nosedive. It's according to BetMGM, the Jets Super Bowl chances, or their odds, excuse me, have dropped from plus 1,600 to plus 6,000 after the injury. And this is a torn Achilles. He's out for the rest of the season. And now you're in the veteran quarterback market. And after week one,
Brady, TB12. You got to, dude. You got to beg for it. You got to beg. You got to get on your hands and knees.
well, because Brady, he could still kind of play last year.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the other names I was looking at, I saw some sports book. It was like 3-1 Nick Foles. And I was like, hell no. There's no way. Beg for Brady.
Yeah. I mean, wait, who's out there? Nick Foles, Matt Ryan,
Wentz is
Wentz.
super out there. He's
Yeah.
actively calling everyone.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe you could pull off a trade for Jameis, but then I remembered that Jake Hayner got popped for PED, so he's out for the first 6 games. So I doubt the Saints will be willing to let him go for,
I don't know if the Jets really want to trade picks though either, because so they're going to give up the second
second round
for
pick.
for Rodgers to Green Bay, right? And they can't use their first round pick in any trade either right now because of the way that the conditions work out. Like Rodgers officially hasn't hit less than 65% of their season long stats because the season long stats don't end until the season is over. So you're already going to have a bunch of assets tied up. Do you really want to trade like these mid round picks in like week 2 for a quarterback? I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think there's any merit to the idea that they should roll with Zach Wilson because he knows the plays?
Yeah, but you got to have a backup option.
Right.
Yeah,
I
but
think
at
their
the
backup right now is Tim Boyle.
dude, that's not going to work. He's a clipboard for Aaron. I've lived the Tim Boyle experience. That's not happening. Look up Tim Boyle's college stats, Chuck. This was
Oh
one of
no,
your
no, no.
favorite
I've
bits.
I've I've done it before. But I think he was one touchdown to 13 picks in FBS football before he
Yeah,
transferred. I don't know how
insane.
he even made it to the NFL.
I don't know. I don't know how they found him, but he's a clipboard. He's a clipboard. So you're gonna need someone else at the very least if it's gonna be, I don't know, like Flacco, but like Flacco wasn't under Hackett's system, right? Like that's the problem
No.
is everyone just had to learn Aaron Rodgers' playbook. So none of the old stuff applies. I was looking at old players who played under Hackett, and it's like you want to call Chad Henne and convince him to come out of retirement. Like is Blake Bortles in shape right now? I don't know. Like there's not that many guys. Brett Ripien from last year, he's on the Rams practice squad right now. You could pick him up. It's not a great list of guys who have had experience under Hackett and are available right now.
Yeah. Also, the report that was coming out today about how Aaron was upset with the play calling. This is your offense. This is your offense, and look, this is the first drive of the season. This is so scripted. Like what they're gonna run before. You have plenty of time to make your input before you take those steps on the field. And then I thought the play call stuff was kind of baffling because on the play where he got hurt, Garrett Wilson was open. Like the play was run how it was supposed to. Dwayne Brown went for the cut block. He got Leonard Floyd's hands down, which is all you're trying to do there. Open up the window for Garrett Wilson to come in on the in breaking route, and then he just didn't throw it. And I think that I guess it's all moot now because his career may be over, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But even in the early portions of the game before he got hurt, it kind of felt like he still thought he could run around and be that guy that he was, 6 or 7 years ago. And maybe like if he can just kind of appreciate his own skill set for what it is now, because it's still one that can start for you and win you a handful of games. Maybe it's not Superman, but it's still a startable quarterback. You can get this thing back on track, but that when I was watching the injury last night and how it unfolded, I felt like I was talking to you again and reliving all the stuff you have been complaining about over the past couple of years with him. Run the play, throw the ball, but he didn't, and unfortunately, it ended in like the worst possible way for him and the Jets.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's how a lot of Packers fans experience that, where it's like we've seen that play before, right? Quick game is 3-step drop. You're just supposed to be, 1, 2, 3, balls out, and you're not throwing it. And why did you not throw it? Because the flat wasn't open, and you don't want to throw over the middle of the field. And maybe that has to do a little bit with, everyone always brings up like Rodgers hasn't thrown over the middle of the field since like the Jermichael Finley injury, where he ended up hurting his neck and stuff like that. And maybe that does have some sort of impact on it, but he does hold on to the ball a little bit, and you can't do that when you're cutting these guys. When you're cutting, at the tackle position, which holy crap, dude. You're 4 plays into the NFL season and you've had to cut tackles twice on quick game
Four,
protection. Like you
twice in
need to
four
get
plays.
you need to get better there. First of
Yeah,
all, like you need to have better tackles that can handle that stuff. A whole lot of things, right? It's Jets. You should have been better at a tackle position so that you didn't have to cut guys. 2, Aaron, you're calling the slant flats. This is your offense. This is what you wanted to do. This is all you did under McCarthy, right? This is what you fought for under LaFleur's to run all this quick game stuff. LaFleur doesn't really want to do that. He didn't do that with Jordan Love this weekend. And just run the plays. You're gonna have to throw over the middle sometimes. It's gonna have to happen. And all of it just culminated into one play. And now I don't know. I don't know if he's ever gonna play again because he's old, man, and that shouldn't be discounted. He's old, and that's an Achilles injury. People generally talk about it as like an 18-month injury, right? Like it's not like an ACL. You can't just bounce back and be healthy. And it's not like Rodgers has been super healthy recently either, right? It seems like he's always dealing with, you know, a knee, a toe, a broken finger, something with his ribs. Like these injuries are starting to stack up now.
yeah. And the reason I would be worried is it's September now, so 7 months ago he said he was 90% retired. I don't. I guess
Yeah, and
I
then
would, I
this
would be
weekend
surprised if
he's
he came
like, I
back.
might play until 45. And I'm like, dude, we get it. You're happy. We get it. We get
Scoring
it. You're
X right
so
there.
happy. You're so happy.
Has there been like a morning on Packers Twitter, or is everyone still in shock?
No, I think Packers fans generally feel negative towards this, right? Like there's like
I mean,
weird.
morning in the sense that this is we're talking about this like it's over for him.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Like there's like 3 different factions of like Packers fans and how they feel about Rodgers. And some of them are, I never root for that guy again. Some of them are, I'll always root for that guy. And then some of them are like, yeah, like I just care about the draft pick. So you get a lot of the immediate reaction, right? Is he goes down. We don't know how serious it is. Everyone's just like, oh no, the draft pick, the draft pick. We're not gonna get the first round pick. Then it comes out like, oh yeah, the soon to be 40-year-old has a full Achilles tear, and everyone's reaction for the most part is like, damn, I hope that's not how he goes out, because it did seem like he was gonna have a fun season. I didn't doubt that. I thought the beginning of the year was maybe going to be a little rocky just because of how Rodgers works. Like he might eat his young and yell at the center for like the first month of the season, but I was assuming that they would build momentum at the second half of the year, and then maybe 2024 be that team the entire season. But has Rodgers talked at all since the injury?
No, I mean, you don't have to talk after the game if you're getting
Right.
hurt during it. Yeah, so
I mean,
I
I
guess
don't
honestly, the first time we'll hear from us probably on the McAfee show, right?
maybe, but I mean, you have to wonder if he's gonna end up making that too.
Damn, this turned somber real quick.
I mean, we saw a 39-year-old blow out his Achilles trying to play football. Yeah, dude, it's a pretty somber thing.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. I'm not to say, but I was gonna say, wow, that's a dark but, you know. But honestly, the rest of the game was kind of spectacular, and I thought what was really cool to see was literally through that entire first half, it was a dead zone in there. I mean, no one could even believe what happened. And it felt like everyone had the same reaction because when I look down from the press box, you have people on their phone scrolling through ESPN, scrolling through
That's what I
Twitter,
was gonna
scrolling through
say. It's got to be a
Facebook.
whole lot of that, right?
Yes, everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. And then because it goes from questionable to out. And then as soon as the game's over, they say, Robert Saleh comes out and says, it's not looking good. It's looking like an Achilles, and it sucks. And honestly, I kind of thought it was going to be maybe a high ankle sprain at first because you know he goes down, but then he gets back up and kind of hobbles off the field, gets on the cart, and then he gets off the cart and walks into the locker room. So I thought, okay, maybe this is going to be a little 4 to 6 week high ankle sprain, and then as the game goes on, get a little more information. It turns bleak and bleak, but the Jets, they still came back and won this game, which I think it's an encouraging sign for them, obviously, that they have a defense that is capable enough to go toe to toe with Josh Allen and give you enough where you can kind of come back and be in a spot to win the game at the end. I know that Josh also played a heavy role in the Jets' defensive success. Jordan
What was
Whitehead,
it? The 3 picks that he threw down the middle of the field? Yeah.
he threw two down the middle of the field, one to the sideline. All three of them were to Jordan Whitehead, who hit a $250,000 bonus yesterday because his incentive for the season was 3 interceptions.
Hey,
So
boy.
that,
Congrats, dude. Let's go.
when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's got to make you feel good. And if you get enough stops from your defensive line, I was expecting maybe a little bit more penetration than they got yesterday, but there's still plays where Quentin Williams looks like that dude. I thought Jermaine Johnson played really well on the stunts that they sent him on. He got a sack on one, a couple of pressures on another. And I was frustrated for Jets fans is this team kind of still is who we thought they were. They can run the ball. Their defense is going to be lights out this year. I mean, you just made what I think is the second best quarterback in the league look like a complete scrub yesterday. 3 interceptions, another turnover. That was, kind of a complete unforced error by Josh Allen. You have dudes to still make the playoffs if Zach Wilson is an improved version of his from what he was last year. But
Is he?
that's a
Does he
tough
look
bet.
any different?
I
Charles,
don't
did
think
he
he
look
looks.
any different?
No, I don't think he looked any different. That's why I said if. If did you see the Manning cast clip where
Sure did.
where
I was
Zach
getting
is
texts about it live. They're like, Peyton has never been more frustrated at any quarterback than watching Zach Wilson. They're like, he's treating him like high school coaches watching film on Sunday. It's just like, oh my God. Can you believe that?
yeah. Yeah. Dude, the clip where he's like, yeah, just keep running backwards, or you could just keep doing that.
That was after
'Cause-
Eli asked him how many more passes is Zach Wilson going to throw. This is like, mind you, like midway through the second quarter, and Peyton's like three at most for the entire rest of the game. And Zach Wilson immediately bails out 30 yards and then just throws the ball out of bounds. Peyton's never looked so disgusted in his life.
No, well, it's funny because in the press box, sometimes you watch a play unfold and you kind of can't believe like how disastrous it is. So the play where he's backing up 5, 10, 15, 20. Like once you're 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, dude, with these NFL pass rushers chasing you, I don't know how you fix that because that's just one of the first no-nos of football. And this is year 3. This is year 3, and he's still making those mistakes. He threw the pick over the middle that he should have seen the linebacker right there or the safety, whoever it was. That performance last night is not one that can get the Jets to the playoffs for sure.
No,
That's
no, dude.
an outlier victory.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I mean, yeah, I think that's an outlier performance from both Josh Allen and the Jets, without Aaron Rodgers, right? Plus Miami is as hot as can be right now. You look at what that offense did. The Bills should be tough. I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be really tough for the Jets to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and I worry that. Well, I think one of the things that was so interesting to me about their team construction this year is they put so much into the Dwayne Brown basket. You know, like you,
Dwayne Brown was the dude who was having to cut guys in quick game.
yeah,
That's like,
he's
dude, that's
38.
like old college football stuff. Like that's like the last time that I saw a team that consistently cut on quick game was probably Derek Carr at Fresno State. Like that's how long ago it was for me. And that was what, like 2013, 2012, something like that. Like you shouldn't be doing that at the NFL level, man. You should be able to have tackles who can block for 1 second, literally 1 second.
Yeah, I just pulled up the draft where Dwayne Brown was selected in 2008. All right, I'm gonna read some of these names that got drafted around him. Chris Johnson, the old Titans running back. Remember Dustin Keller, the Jets tight end?
Jeez,
That
jeez, why Dustin Keller?
I'm saying these are the guys that got drafted around him. The guys who have been out of the league for a long time. Brandon Flowers, Jordy Nelson, Curtis Lofton, Felix Jones, Aqib Talib, Joe Flacco. This is your starting left tackle? Like that was your plan for the year?
Well, hey,
And it
Jason Peters just signed with the Seattle Seahawks too. I don't understand. This is how bad tackles have gotten from like a development standpoint. Is these old dudes are just going to be able to hang around forever.
41 years old. He's gonna be a starting left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks for a few weeks. I think while Charles Cross deals with his injury. That's crazy. That like you said, that it's gotten to a point where teams even want to sign a 41-year-old left tackle is pretty breathtaking. But moving back to the game, Josh Allen, 3 interceptions to the same guy, like we said before. Another fumble to make him four
Looked
turnovers for the
terrible.
game. Looked
Diggs looks like he
terrible.
was going to spaz out on the sideline.
Oh yeah, he did. Oh yeah, he did. he was having a moment for about 3 hours last night. Okay, so here's a question for you. He's 0-5 in his career in overtime. I'm not sure that really matters all that much because it's just I think it's kind of random. But here's a question for you: does he still belong in the 1A tier behind Patrick Mahomes? I'll say yeah.
No, Mahomes is in his own tier.
Okay, behind Mahomes, first
Oh,
tier.
behind Mahomes?
No, Mahomes is in his own tier. There's no one
Okay,
touching
okay,
Patty.
okay, okay, okay. So who are we putting up with Josh
Like
Allen?
Burrow,
Burrow had a bad game too.
he did,
Uh,
but he's definitely hurt. Like he's hurt.
true.
He's
All right.
he's really hurt.
All right. All right. All
I
right.
like he should. I don't think he should. Like when I kind of was flipping through the game on Sunday, he couldn't move, dude, and he was like scared to get hurt, not playing as tough as he usually does. I'll give him a pass for that one.
With Josh, okay, here's what I'll say. I haven't necessarily moved him down a tier or anything like that, but his decision making over the last 2 years seems like it's gone downhill. And mind you, this past year we have one data point, right? He is certainly on like regression watch, you know, where it's like, what is this going to be moving forward? Are you more? Is there more Jameis in you than I realized? You know, in 2021, like that's my question, basically.
I mean, some of the not even some. All three of those interceptions were terrible. Two of them were straight up into
The
double
two down the
coverage.
middle of the field where they're in double coverage were insane. Like I understand, I think at least one of them was on like third down. And you're just trying to take an aggressive shot, but like, yeah, dude, I get why you're pissed if you're Diggs because if those are the targets that you're getting targeted on, like, come on, man. You think I'm a superhuman? Like, at least throw it to me when I'm singled up.
Yeah, that was bizarre. But again, I don't expect him to play that poorly because as crazy as Josh Allen has played over the past year, and the Jets did this to him last year too. Like after the game, he was said, "This is the same team, different day." Like he said that after the game last night. So maybe the MetLife turf has something on him because when he comes here, it hasn't been pretty. But still, he's only had 4 turnover game twice in his career, as reckless as he is. Don't really expect this to continue. I saw Bills fans complaining about Ken Dorsey last night. I don't know what you're supposed to do when your quarterback is just hell bent on tanking the game.
He's giving the other team the ball. Yeah, don't be too mad about the offensive coordinator. Bears fans were pissed at their offensive coordinator this past weekend too, and they're like, what are we doing? Calling all these he's calling all these screens because you don't have a quarterback. Like these OCs aren't as bad as you think. It's usually the performance on the field, guys.
Yeah. Well, let's move off of that Bills Jets game because I do want to touch on a team that you watched this weekend, the Chicago Bears. Uh,
Terrible. They might go
Terrible.
0-17.
Okay, is that it?
Dude, did you watch that game? They're horrible.
I've only really watched the Jordan Love dropbacks, and I watched some of the Chase Claypool clips where he's whiffing on
He's
screen blocks and
embarrassing. They paid the 32nd overall pick for like 2 years of that guy before they have to give him an extension.
Yeah,
I don't think Fields can throw. Still, the interior on that offensive line is bad. The tackles are fine. I think their best skill player is Roschon Johnson, who is their third running back right now. DJ Moore, they paid him all that money. That's what, the big feather in their cap that they got for that trade down from the first overall pick. Got 25 yards last week. Defense
Jair was
doesn't look
talking
any
spicy
good.
after the game.
Yeah. Jair was all up in his head. The defense just sits back in cover 2 and cover 3. I mean, it's the same stuff as last year. They just hope that they're going to have better talent. And I don't know. This was supposed to be the year that you take that step forward and you're at least an average team, right? Like you're not going to have forever to get this rebuild cooking, right? So like this was supposed to be the year we get an answer on Justin Fields. Even if Fields isn't great, at least he could scramble around and hopefully our defense can be good. Jordan Love, could read books in the pocket this past game. The Bears weren't getting any rush. The Packers, the only time they were really stalling on offenses when they were giving AJ Dillon the football. Every time Aaron Jones was on the field and getting rushing attempts, he could do whatever he wanted. So I'm not as impressed by the Packers with that win. I just really believe that Bears team is very, very bad, and it's probably going to be very, very bad this entire season.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting with the way that the Eberflus wants to run his defense. That instead of trying to get any pass rushers in there for real, like you're trying to develop guys like Javon Dexter, which is I like the traits. Think he's still got a ways to go, but that's not going to be a guy that really kills it for your year one. You're banking on that to turn into something down the road. So for you to spend all this money, you run your defense, like you said, a lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3. Dude, you need pass rushers. You need someone to go out and affect the pocket if you're going to be sitting in 4-man, pass rush world. And that's one of the reasons why, I think, a lot of people that watch ball, I don't think they were too impressed by Eberflus's scheme going back to the Colts. And it all kind of changed when they got DeForest Buckner in there. And when he turned to the wrecking ball in the middle, they were able to, produce a defense that was worthy enough to get him a job with Chicago. But the way that they attacked this offseason, I never really thought it made sense. So you sign those 2 linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. Then you trade out of one, which is fine. But you get DJ Moore in return, who is like a mid-tier wide receiver 1.
Yeah. I mean,
that's where I would put him.
He's not just Jefferson. He's not
right.
Stephon Diggs. He's not.
It was interesting to see the hype that this Bears team got throughout the offseason just because they had spent money, but it didn't really seem like they had spent money in a way that was actually conducive to getting them.
That offense spent $30 million more this season on players than the Green Bay Packers offense, which is just nuts. Like that Packers team had more threats on the field than Aaron Jones and Christian Watson was hurt and stuff like that, but like they had more skill talent out there than the Bears did, plus a significantly better offensive line, right? So it's like, why'd you guys spend all that money on these guys? Like, I think that's what's really going to kill this Bears team. It's flipping the first overall pick to pay DJ Moore, right? When you don't have a quarterback who can really get him the ball outside of like screens, and then trading the first overall or the first pick in the second round for Chase Claypool, and he's no good. Plus, you already struck out with the Velus Jones.
He was a healthy scratch
third round pick, healthy scratch. By the way, shout out to Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles is telling everyone, "Oh, when I drafted Velus Jones, I had teams texting me, telling me, oh, you stole my guy. You stole my guy.' Velus Jones is now a 26-year-old, second-year, third-round pick who was a healthy scratch in week 1. Congrats, Ryan Poles."
Yeah, he was really pumping his chest there for a while when he
He
first
might be
got that
very
job.
bad at this.
Yeah,
Poles might be like really, really like a really, really bad GM. I mean, I think like I don't think what Eberflus is doing is really killing the team.
it's fine.
Yeah,
It's just fine.
he's just average. But I think the general manager is where it might be like, yeah, I think they just might be bad. Yeah.
But and this is going to bring us to a team that I wanted to touch on. They might have like 2 top 5 picks next year with their own plus Carolina's. If that Carolina performance on Sunday tracks throughout the rest of the season,
Shout out to Bryce Young for throwing the same interception twice to the same
twice.
exact player. Amazing.
Yeah. Same exact interception, same exact player. He got the same result with I think that was where 2 of the Falcons touchdowns came because Lord knows they needed those short fields to do anything with the ball.
Dude, I
That
saw
didn't
like
involve getting to
entering the
Bijan.
fourth quarter, Desmond Ritter had like 26 net passing yards or something like that.
Well, at one point he was 4 for 4, 0 yards and a touchdown because his first
Disgusting.
completion went to himself. We got to deflect the line of scrimmage. He caught it, so he was at -6, and then it took him 3 more passing attempts to get to 0. So I don't know what to expect from that
Should
team.
Arthur Smith feel bad?
Yes, but will he? No, because he keeps doing like the frustrating thing is he keeps doing this fancy football critique in the media after the game where someone's asking, well, why did Drake London get 1 target? Well, this isn't fantasy football. Okay, but you know, getting your top 10 pick who we know is good, the football, I think it can help you in real life. That's my hot take, Arthur. I would like to have more than 200 yards in a football game.
Well, we
I
get
don't think it's asking for too
Packers
much.
Falcons this week. You get to see
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
what's going to happen there. I think the Falcons are going to run for a bunch of yards on Green Bay. The safety position is really still what kills the Packers. They have Rudy Ford starting at safety. He was a guy who's picked up. He was like a special teams ace for the Jaguars. They picked him up last season. Got him starts a little bit at the end of the year. Adrian Amos leaves for the Jets. Now he's the starter. He was maybe the worst player on the field in that Bears game. He got completely destroyed by Herbert a couple times. He's on the ground a bunch. Like the only reason the Bears were able to get any yards were like just not wrapping up on either run plays or screens or whatever it is. And every single time there was a big play, it's because Rudy Ford was on the ground. So ice up, Rudy. You got a big one this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Because this if it's one thing they're gonna do is run the ball. I was a little disappointed that Algier got more touches than Bijan. But at the
Yeah,
end
this
of
is
the day, I think
Algiers team.
yeah, your RB1 take. It was definitely true week 1 because he had most production and I think what it's telling is he had the production inside like the 5 and the 10-yard line outside of like little RPO that
Well, I did
Bijan
see
caught for a
like
touchdown.
I saw some stat that was like Bijan had like the third most routes ran by a Falcon. So like they had him working a bunch of the passing game and stuff too. And got to get that boy some rest.
Yeah, I mean, look, he looked awesome. I have no doubt about his talent. Just can we
The
throw the ball
touchdown
just a
was
little?
nice. Yeah.
It was. I just want to throw the ball a little bit, just just a smidge, just a smidge. All right, real quick before we hit an ad break, what team from week 1 have you lost the most faith in moving forward? My answer is I'd have to flip a coin between the Steelers and the Panthers.
Really? I didn't get to watch the Steelers game.
Christian McCaffrey goes zoom zoom. That's about what you need to know.
The team, and I'm going maybe off the book a little bit here. Tennessee. We knew their tackle situation was just going to be horrible, right? And we knew they didn't have a ton of offensive skill talent. I was told that, as an organization, they might be a little bit of a show this year. And then you see Tannehill throw 3 interceptions off the bat, and it's like, I don't know, man. This just might be it. We might have just tapped out on what we can get out of Ryan Tannehill ISO power run Stanford offense, and they already changed the general manager and stuff like that, and they've had all those injuries. I don't know how many players have played for the Titans over the past 3 years, probably 200 or something like that. So I'm most disappointed in Tennessee, even though I came in with pretty low expectations.
Yeah, I'm 3 interceptions is bad. I just never understood why they thought like the Dillard situation was gonna work. I mean, he lost his job to a UDFA in Philly. I know Mailata is a good player, but
I mean, he was
teams
downgraded to like fourth offensive tackle at one point. Like,
right, and that's with the pedigree of a first round pick.
right.
So that was a little shocking. So
That's the team that should have been cut blocking on quick game protection.
for sure,
Was the Titans.
yeah. I mean, they got nothing up front. So yeah,
God bless you,
Steelers.
Derrick Henry.
I
Contract year.
know he's fighting for his life. Steelers, Panthers, Titans. Like man, that was rough. I'm excited to see how Mike Tomlin gets this Steelers team to 9-8 this year because they are going to have to win some ugly.
They've
ugly
never finished
games.
below 500, right?
No, he's never finished below 500 his whole coaching career, his head coaching career with the Steelers. This might be the year that tests that.
Also,
But I
that
thought
Titans
that
game,
last year
holy
too.
crap, I forgot about this. Did you see the end of the game? What they did? They kicked the field goal to go down one and then just never got the ball back.
Yeah,
The hell are you doing, Mike? You're better
I
than
don't
that,
know.
Mike.
I still like Vrabel as a coach, but I think it's kind of fair to wonder if this is a little
They just
broken.
might need just
Oh,
like
a fresh start.
yeah, just fresh start for everyone. That's where I'm at. I don't think Vrabel's a bad coach or anything like that. I don't know, man. That's a lot of years with Ryan Tannehill. That's a lot of years just trying to run ISO and power, and now you don't have an offensive line because you can't keep those things together. Not really like a team I'm disappointed in, but like I'm worried about the Seahawks. Like losing both of your tackles is a big deal. We'll be interested to see what they look like moving forward.
Oh, and just in general, I think when you let that Rams team score 30 on you, and that defense kind of shuts you down too. I know they
You're
got
like
Aaron Donald, but the rest of
Tutu
the guys is
Atwell and
Puka.
rookie Puka Nakua. Like, gosh, dang, guys.
Yeah, they both went over 100 yards. That's no good. It's not right. It's not good. But we'll get back to a couple more conversations about the Packers and the Falcons moving forward after a quick word from our sponsors. All right, we're back. Let's talk about the Packers, Justis. I just have a question for you. Is Jordan Love real? And can they win the NFC North with the version of Jordan Love that they got this past weekend?
I think what you got from Jordan Love this week is kind of what I was expecting in the preseason, and what I expect moving forward, which is for the most part running the offense, and then about 1 out of 5 plays something weird is going to happen because he's a first-year starter, right? Like something just drop snap or just holds on to the ball way too long, restarts a progression when he should be bailing out of the pocket. Just things that like you get a better feel for once you've been a starter for a while, right? Do I think he's going to lead the NFL in passer rating every single week? No. I think that Bears team was a very bad football team. He probably could have gotten like an extra 50 yards too if he could have connected to Musgrave on another one of those deep shots. Can they win the North? Yes. I do think they can win the North.
They should. They should feel like they can win the North.
Yeah, because the Lions weren't super impressive to me. I mean, it looks like the same stuff where it's like if you don't pressure Goff, he can sit back there and throw. If you pressure Goff, he crumples. So okay, I can live with that. Minnesota just lost to Baker Mayfield running the football in crucial moments. Baker Mayfield was just stiff arming and trucking every single Minnesota Viking at the end of that game to seal the deal. And the Bears are terrible. So yeah, I think they can compete for the North. Do I think they get it? I don't know. This team is still super young. Like volatile stuff is just going to happen week to week. But I do think Jordan Love is real.
Yeah, that was kind of my takeaway from what I watched when I watched the Packers dropbacks. I thought he got better as the game went on, especially in the second half. But a lot of it was, and maybe I will say this might repeat against the Falcons because their pass was looking suspect too. But dude, the Bears couldn't get any pressure on them, and once you're playing like the unpressured game, it's a different brand of football.
Yeah.
it's not what you're gonna see every week. So, but it might be what they see this week again. Because I don't know if you've watched Panthers Falcons yet, but when you get to it, dude, that destruction from Bryce Young, it was all on his own. I wouldn't say maybe Jesse Bates forced him to do some stuff because Jesse Bates, he kind of played out of his mind, but it's not like they were getting a whole lot of, pressure on Bryce as a passer.
Well, I saw the shoulder pad chip said Onyemata and Grady Jarrett were way up there
What?
for pass rush rate. Yeah.
I'll give Grady. He played pretty
That's
well.
the AI. The AI is telling you they played good football games. You should listen
See,
to
this is what the shoulder pad. Like, dude, trust your eyes, man.
Trust your eyes.
Trust your mind.
God gave you
Trust
eyes
your
for a
mind.
reason, brother.
Yeah, don't call me on damn pass block win rate. Come on.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting because again, I think the Falcons are just going to be able to run the rock against Green Bay because I think safety is a real problem, man. I really do.
So that's something that you're nervous about this week. The Falcons be able to run the ball, or
Yes.
not being able to,
Yes.
but they're going to.
They're going to run the football. I'm worried about the success that they're going to have doing it. Yeah.
The Bears, they had 29 rushes for 122 yards. I would imagine the Falcons hit more carries than that. And dude, honestly, I'm kind of worried about the Falcons pass pro, but their run blocking, they've kind of figured this thing out, man.
They're good.
Yeah. Dude,
I know all of them are big boys, and all of them have some level of pedigree. A lot of them are paid already and stuff like that. So I'd assume I was kind of surprised that they didn't put up bigger numbers in the rushing game against Carolina.
They had short fields, and I don't know. I mean, what they had? Algier had 5 carries for 75. Bijan had 10 for 56. And okay, they only ran 48 plays for the whole game.
Yeah, that's the other thing where it's like, dude, what is going on? What the
48
heck?
plays? That's not going to win you a whole lot of. Yeah.
That's like some Madden stuff with the 6-minute quarters, dude. What are you? The hell?
They were either going like 3 and out, or Jesse Bates set them up in a spot where they could score. It wasn't really much else outside of that, which is a little concerning because I don't think you can bank on Jesse Bates forcing 3 turnovers every time he goes out there. Because not only did he have the 2 picks, but he also forced a fumble that they recovered too. So yeah, pretty good first day for Jesse Bates. So I'm not, but the realist in me knows you can't expect that every week. I might not get another Jesse Bates interception for several weeks, just based off how random that stuff.
Maybe months. Oh no,
maybe months, dude. Maybe months. Yeah, seriously, and he could be great, and I could still not get my next Jesse Bates interception. So Arthur, throw the ball at Drake London, please. Okay. Let's do a little week 1 overreaction about both of our teams before we get out of here. All right, Justis, week 1, just based off the Bears game, what's the part of the Packers that says, okay, this could legitimately tank their season?
So the safety situation I brought up. So I'll go with another one. AJ Dillon. If Aaron Jones actually has some sort of significant hamstring injury, he called it a cramp. He said, it wasn't a tear, it was just a bite in the post-game presser. If AJ Dillon has to start games, I'm real worried because I don't know what he does. He plays so much smaller than he actually is. He basically gets stopped at contact every single time. He calls himself Quadzilla. I've jokingly called him Plodzilla for the last 2 years. If he has to start, I'll probably be on the team trade for Jonathan Taylor bandwagon. So
I do think the Falcons can run the ball. I'm excited about that. But it's interesting because when you get back to you go to the end of last season and you look at like target share on routes run, Drake London and Kyle Pitts were both among like the tops in the league. I think they're both top 10 for wide receivers and tight ends. But during the game, it doesn't really feel like they're actually being targeted that much. And it doesn't really feel like they're being targeted much in ways that can help you get going. Because Drake, he had 1 target and he dropped it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop throwing the ball to him. Like we got to keep this thing moving. We got to keep it moving in the right direction. So I think this is maybe a little, this is the week 1 overreaction. So I'll say I'm a little worried that Arthur still gets too in his own stuff sometimes and kind of forgets, hey, you've been here for 3 years and 2 of your top 10 picks have been pass catchers. Let's throw them the ball. And I know Kyle Pitts is good. He knows Kyle Pitts is good. I know Drake London's good. He knows Drake London's good. So what's the deal here? I know McGarry, he did not have a great day in pass pro, Brian Burns looked like he was coming for that $30 million contract on Sunday. It was kind of unbelievable how dominant he was. Still, you got to be able to figure out a way to block it up and throw the ball downfield. For me, because I know Arthur's listening to this. The first episode of the Exempt
Please,
List.
Arthur.
Please, Arthur. Justin, you got any takes you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
No, I was watching college football, and I was mad that DPI isn't a spot foul. There was a double pass, and they just like tackled the other wide receiver. And I was like, wow, that's really dumb that you can just negate any deep shot and you just say, hey, you get 15 yards instead of where you know the ball ends up hitting the ground. So that's my only take right now.
I will say, college football fans, you gotta stop crying about this time, the clock stuff.
Oh my god.
It's fine. You get your rules back in the final 2 minutes.
It's like two plays. It's like two plays a game.
I don't understand how that's so much better than what we get to see now. You know, the game moves. You got a nice pace to the game, a nice flow. I will say one thing that I do think they're right on. A lot of commercials, man. A whole lot of commercials.
So many.
Yeah. And the commercial breaks are long. You know, it's been a long time since I've been to a college football game. But in NFL, you know, when you go to an NFL game, the commercial breaks, like they feel short when you're at the stadium. You know, you're kind of you're waiting for maybe a minute or two and then you're back out there. But with college, man, there's so much that you just got to sit through every single commercial break. And it feels like 5-10 minutes. Yes, dude.
How many times do I got to see Gronk? I got to see Gronk. I got to see the Jesus commercial. I got to see Build Submarines. I don't know who the Build Submarines commercial is for. What do you want me to do about the Build Submarines?
Yeah, I think it's a good place to end this. Good first episode. Getting our feet wet. Getting them back in the right direction. We'll be back with another episode of the Exempt List every Tuesday. You can tune in tomorrow for inside coverage with Jason Fitz, Charles Robinson, Jory Epstein. I'm For Verts. You can find Justis on Twitter at Jumos, Jumosq. Got the producer Stone Rochelle behind the glass. You can find him on Twitter at SJ Rochelle. Please leave a 5-star review. Tell a friend. Remember, you can find us all on the Zero Blitz podcast feed. And we'll see you next week.